Today's video is very unpleasant. It's very uncomfortable. It's not going to make you feel good by any means, but I think it's worth sharing the police report that discusses how Onision's 2-year-old daughter fell from her window outside of her home onto the driveway. Doesn't feel real. It sounds horrific. Mina will be reading the police report in its entirety, and you'll notice that she'll be saying redacted quite a bit, and that's because the police report blocks off private information like the kids' names and the location. So if you're watching the screen, I'll write in what's being redacted, but it's mostly self-explanatory. Also, Onision no longer goes by his first name, Greg. I don't know if he changed his middle name to his first name or what, but he now goes by James.
On the 12th of September at approximately 7:25 p.m., I received a phone call from Deputy Grote regarding an incident that occurred at Redacted. Deputy Grote explained that James Jackson called 911 and reported that his 2-year-old daughter had fallen out of a second-story window by pushing the screen out. Deputy Grote said that he had been out to the residence before to assist Child Protective Services in checking the children due to concerns that James ran a YouTube channel with content about child molestation. Deputy Grote said that Redacted was being transported to Marybridge via ambulance. I met Deputy Grote at Marybridge Children's Hospital. Redacted had been brought to a CT scan immediately upon her arrival. I spoke to Lieutenant Johnson of Medic Unit with Gig Harbour. Lieutenant Johnson said that his medic unit transported Redacted to the hospital. Lieutenant Johnson said that when they arrived on scene, Redacted, Kai Johnson, was with Redacted. Lieutenant Johnson said that Redacted was on a cement driveway directly underneath an open window laying on her side. He said that there was a window screen partially underneath Redacted, which was broken in the corner. Lieutenant Johnson said that the fall was not witnessed and he was told that Kai was in the kitchen making dinner and James was in the garage. Lieutenant Johnson said that James said he had heard tapping on the outside of the garage, and when he went to investigate it, he saw that Redacted had fallen.
The part that really troubled me about this section was James said he heard tapping on the outside of the garage, and when he went to investigate it, he saw that his daughter had fallen. Did his daughter fall and she was just trying to get help, so she started tapping on the garage because she heard his dad working there? Like, this is so disturbing.
I spoke privately with Kai. Kai agreed to be audio recorded during our conversation. We got interrupted during our conversation by medical staff, so my conversation with Kai is documented in 2 separate recordings. The following is a summary of our conversation. Kai said that when she went to make dinner, she put Redacted in her room to watch TV. Kai said that the window was closed and that Redacted's bedroom door was open. Kai said that her 5-year-old son was in the living room watching a different show, which is why she put Redacted in her bedroom. She described Redacted bed as a twin bed. She said she was not sure how Redacted could have gone up to the window. She said she believed that the headboard to the bed and the window did not overlap, so it didn't make sense to her that Redacted could have climbed onto the windowsill from the headboard. Kai said that she did not know that Redacted had fallen until James ran upstairs and then out the front door. She said James yelled for her to call an ambulance, which was when she came outside and saw that Redacted had fallen. Kai said she dialed 911 but gave her phone to James, and that she waited with Redacted until the ambulance got there. Kai described Redacted as very active and said that in the past she climbed and stood on top of tables in the home.
I want you guys to keep in mind how Kai was not sure how their daughter could have gone up to the window because they believed that the headboard to the bed and the window did not overlap. It did not make sense to her. Keep that in mind.
I spoke privately with James. James agreed to be audio recorded during our conversation. The following is a summary of my conversation with James. James said that he was in the garage on his computer. He explained that he works from home. James said he heard what sounded like a deep voice and tapping on the exterior of the garage. James said he thought that it was Redacted who was outside. James said Redacted was not supposed to be outside, so he went upstairs so he could go outside to see why Redacted was there. James said when he got part of the way up the stairs, he could see that Redacted was in the living room playing a video game. James said he went out of the front door and saw Redacted laying on the driveway near the garage. He said he yelled for Kai to call an ambulance and then spoke to 911 on the phone. James said that while waiting for the ambulance, he took a video showing the window down to the cement where Redacted was laying. I asked James why he took the video. James said he wanted to be able to show the doctor exactly where she had fallen and expressed concern that she had hit the landscaping rocks which were right next to the driveway. He also said that he thought about needing to show the police what happened and spoke about an incident in 2011 when a friend threatened to kill herself and make it look like he was responsible. So he took a video of himself calling 911 so he could show the police he was not responsible. James's explanation for why he took a video seems strange to me. James said that Redacted is an active child and said that in the past she had climbed up and stood on tables. He said she has also stood on the windowsills in their front room, so they make sure to keep the windows closed and locked. James showed me the video he had taken of Redacted. It was a 1-second video which showed Redacted on the ground with Kai next to her, and then panned up to show the open window.
James said he heard what sounded like a deep voice and tapping on the exterior of the garage. This is what I mean. It sounds so grotesque. Like the child just couldn't make any actual sounds that sounded like her anymore. Also, of course, let's talk about the fact that he took video of it to prove that he's not responsible for what happened to his daughter. What? I could almost understand him taking a short video for the purpose of showing how far she fell from, but the way he goes out of his way to explain that, well, you know, in the past I had to record someone to prove I was innocent, like, oh. Dude, before I give my opinion on what I think about the situation based on these two people's stories, I want to give you guys a full disclosure that I am not a parent. I've never been a parent. I took a parenting class for my psychology major, but that's about it. However, this sounds to me like child neglect. And this is also considering everything that we've heard from Sarah, you know, when she was there and she talked about practically being a nanny and everything else in consideration. It doesn't sound right. And especially when you consider the fact that these two people stay at home all day. Why can't they just like be around their kids? Especially in their formative years. And especially when they both acknowledge that their daughter has a tendency to climb and stand on windowsills. Like, what?
I spoke with Dr. Monge. He said that Redacted had multiple skull fractures. He said that she had a subgaleal hematoma. He said that she had small subdural hematomas. He said that there was some bleeding and bruising her brain, but that it was not enough to require immediate surgery. I asked him if the injuries were life-threatening, and he explained that at this point they weren't, but that due to the nature of injuries, Redacted would need to be carefully monitored because the situation could change and the injuries could become life-threatening. He explained that the skull fracture on the right side of her head was depressed and pushing into her brain. Dr. Monge said that the injuries were consistent with a fall from a second-story window.
If we refer back to the video of Chris Hansen visiting Onision's house, we can see the window Onision's 2-year-old daughter fell from onto the cement driveway. It's the one on the left above the garage.
Deputy Grote told me that James showed him a Ring doorbell video. James handed me his phone and showed me the videos. The Ring video did not capture Redacted's fall, it pointed in the opposite direction, but did show when James came outside and saw Redacted on the ground. James walks out on the porch and looks in the direction of the garage. James runs towards her and screams for Kai to call an ambulance. Kai comes out onto the porch and screams, then runs over to Redacted. James sent me 3 videos which capture James going into the house to get a towel and talking on the phone with 911. James emails me copies of the videos. I asked Kai and James if I could go to their home and take some photographs. They both agreed. I explained that they did not have to allow me to go into the home to take pictures and that they could change their minds and tell me to stop. I gave James my work cell phone number and told him to call me if they did not want me to take pictures. Kai asked me to check to make sure the stove was off and also asked if I could let their dogs in from the back porch when I left. James provided me with the code to get in the front door. Forensics Officer Anderson and I responded to the residence. Deputy Mancuso was on scene and said nobody had gone inside. I observed a partially open window above the garage and screen, laying on the plastic spoon and the flattened Capri Sun on the ground near the screen. Forensics Officer Anderson measured the height from the driveway to the window. The height was 149 inches. Forensics Officer Anderson photographed the scene. We went inside the residence. The home is a split-level home. We went upstairs and down a hallway to the left of us. The TV was on Redacted's bedroom. The window was partially open. There was a twin-size bed. The headboard of the bed was several inches thick on top, thick enough to be climbed on. The headboard and the window still overlapped, so it would have been possible for Redacted to climb onto the bed, onto the headboard, and then get onto the windowsill.
So to Kai, this made absolutely no sense because Kai didn't think that the bed and the window overlapped. But according to the police officer, the headboard was thick enough to be climbed on, and the headboard and the windowsill did overlap. So honestly, this whole thing is just sad, and I almost feel bad giving these parents a hard time because nobody wants this to happen to their children. But they're very neglectful. Like, I don't know, like I said, this is obviously just my opinion, but I feel so strongly about it. And especially when you consider that thing that Sarah had said.
A couple of the times when we all 3 were intimate with each other, their daughter would be sleeping in the bed next to us.
In the same bed?
Yeah.
Add on to that, the tweet that Onision posted just 4 days after this accident that read, "Stand in front of the window over there. The world should see how pathetic and helpless you are. I'm gonna humiliate you, and right before you lose consciousness, I'm gonna destroy you." 4 days after this accident happened, What the fuck? And the worst part is that this is in the middle of a bunch of perverted tweets that he was tweeting while his daughter's in the hospital. He decides to tweet this, amongst all the perverted things, of course. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Oh, and apparently he named his daughter after one of the characters in his book, Stones to Abigail, which the main character, who is himself, gets to have sex with. I know, this is a lot to fucking process, alright? I'm gonna end the video right now. Thanks for watching.